Good evening, one and all. A warm welcome to everybody present here. A kind request, please. Request you to kindly keep the mobiles switched off throughout the program. Request you to be seated through the program and not walk across here and there. Thanks a lot for the compliance. May I request Honorable President ICCR, Dr. Ambarish Mishra and Vinod Pawarji to kindly light the auspicious lamp, please. May I request President ICCR, Shri Vinod Pawar and Shri Ambarish Mishra to please come on the stage. Thank you. May I request President to honor Dr. Mr. Ambarish Mishra. Thank you, sir. May I request President sir to honor Shri Vinod Pawar. Thank you, sir. Sir, could I kindly invite you to be on the stage to introduce the artists and carry over the program. Thank you, sir.
Our Deputy Director General, Sumati Vasudev, other officials, excellencies, ambassadors, representatives of various states, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all at the outset for this evening filled with music, emotions, and basically our relation with Lata Didi. Lata Mangeshkar, India's greatest icon, with a career spanning over 7 decades. Her countless film numbers, which have outlived the flickering images on the silver screen, are seen as a part of India's precious heritage. In her untiring pursuit for excellence, Lata Mangeshkar, our beloved Lata Didi, combined unflinching dedication with high professional skills and discipline. By lending voice to a range of regional melodies, she deepened the process of national integration. Also, with her numerous concerts abroad, she reiterated India's preeminence as a land of poetry and music. This concert today is a tribute to Lata Mangeshkar, and at the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, we talk about culture and relations. While culture encompasses several things, but when it comes to relationship, I think the bonds that music creates are superior to all other things. And therefore, when we talk about culture, we have to talk about music. And when we have to talk about Indian music, we have to start the story with Lata Mangeshkar. It is therefore we have organized this tribute to our beloved Lata Didi on the eve of the completion of 1 month after her sad demise. We have Ambarish Mishra ji, a very well-known journalist and author. He is based out of Mumbai, a senior journalist with the Times of India, Mumbai, and a writer of eminence who has written books in Marathi, in English, and in Hindi as well. He is known as a cultural chronicler, and he has had the fortune of being close to the songstress and her family members. In fact, I may say that a kind of an official biography of Lata Mangeshkar written by him is waiting for its publication, and sooner than later it will be out for all of us. Thanks, Ambarish ji, for coming over here and giving a shape to this program, which was conceptualized by many of us. We also have Vinod Pawar, who is the creative director of this particular program. He is also based out of Mumbai, and he is known for several cultural shows and events put up by him in Mumbai. So once again, I welcome both these presenters, journalist Ambarish Mishra and Vinod Pawar. Welcome you all. And in this welcome remark itself, I thank you as well, because this is a program filled with emotions. And when we end, it will be Lata's music that should be ringing in our ears. So there won't be any formal vote of thanks as such. I propose a vote of thanks right at the beginning of the program. Thanks for coming. Thank you very much, Ambarish ji. Let me mention Samir Annavkar and Sheetal Talpade, our technical hands, who also have come specially from Mumbai. They are taking care of all the technicalities. Sorry for having missed you out. Thank you. Ambarish ji.
Thank you. तुम्ही कुठे आहात इथेही चालेल We'll wait for 2 minutes. We'll just wait for a minute. My greetings to you all this evening. Namaskar. I'll begin with a tiny story which Lata Didi would recount often. She would recount that story. And that story has now become an endearing image engraved deeply on the pages of Hindi film music. The story goes something like this. It's 1947 October. Lata, as she was then known, is immediately summoned by the great master Ghulam Haidar, who basically belonged to Lahore, who had come to Mumbai and became a top-rung music director in Bombay, as it was then known. He wanted Lata to sing a song for Shaheed, which was a film made by Filmistan, and they had their studio in Goregaon, a suburb in Mumbai. And Master Ghulam Haidar was also asked to do music for Majboor, which was a Bombay Talkies film, and that studio was in Malad. Now, if you know something about Mumbai, Goregaon is just a step Malad is just a step ahead of Goregaon. You have Goregaon railway station and then you catch a train and the next station is Malad. Now Ghulam Haider Saab takes Didi to Filmistan studio and he tells the producer, look, this is a young girl and she has a beautiful voice and she should sing for Shaheed. And the producer hears her out and says, no, she is not good. She's frail, she looks emaciated. Her voice is frail, she's too thin. Look at my heroine. She almost had an athletic gait. A plump woman, she needs a focused voice, which was the style in those days. He said, I'm rejecting. He outright rejected Lata Didi. Master Ghulam Haider stormed out of the Filmistan studio, but not before issuing a firm prophetic warning to producer Shashodhar Mukherjee. He said, Huzur, ek baat dhyan rakhiye, remember this. I'm going now, but you will have to repent the decision. This girl will rule the music scene. He then said, come. And they both walked to the Goregaon station. He sat her on a wooden bench, said, Baito. He removed his 555 tin of cigarettes. He said, Lata, ab main tumko ek gana sikhaunga, which you will sing for Majboor and not for Shaheed. Listen to this song, imbibe it carefully. And he taught her the song on the railway station of Goregaon. The trains were coming, people were getting down, getting into the train. And she was singing in her soft, divine voice. Dil mera toda, kahin ka na choda, tere pyar ne. They rehearsed for about 2 hours, they were rehearsing on a sultry afternoon. And he was tapping the tin very gently to keep the beat, and she was singing. And then he said, come. They boarded the train, got down at Malad, took a horse carriage. He said, Gao. She was again singing, Dil mera toda, kahin ka na choda, tere pyar ne. When the studio came, she said, will they throw me out, Master Ji? They said, no. Here, my word runs the writ. I call the shots here. So nobody will throw you out. You will record this song today. This evening, you want to record this song. Remember only one thing. Sing as I have taught you. Don't go here, don't swerve, don't go there. Just stick to what I've taught you. Sing again at the doorstep of Bombay Talkies. She sang, Dil mera toda, kahin ka na choda, tere pyar ne. The rest is history. A legend was born on the railway station of Goregaon. A song was born in Mumbai. Lata Mangeshkar. I'm going to talk to you. There are many anecdotes, but let me tell you that some of these anecdotes, which I heard straight from her, yes. But there are a lot of apocryphal stories. Also, we'll keep them away. We are here this evening not just to pay a homage to Lata Didi, but to celebrate her life and music. Her songs, we swear by her songs. And the Lata Mangeshkar presentation this evening is a modest attempt on behalf of the ICCR, the powerhouse of India's culture, to unspool her genius and her greatness, and attempt to connect the dots. My narrative will be peppered with some of these immortal numbers. Choosing them was, as you can imagine, was a daunting task. But they are representative in character. Lata Didi's life is an inspiring tale, a story of tears and triumphs, grit and glory. Imagine a 13-year-old fatherless girl determined to feed a family of 6, hopping from one Mumbai studio to the other in search of a singing assignment in the bad, bad world of Hindi cinema. She would often pillion ride, and this was a very interesting thing she would say. She had a neighbor who was also her colleague in a film company, Marathi film company, where both were working. And he was a roly-poly man, and he was a cinematographer. And they're always staying in Mumbai at Nana Chowk, which is in South Mumbai, Grant Road. And the producer, proprietor of the company had put them in a chawl. Mumbai mein usko chaal kehte hain, tenements. So he was a neighbor. And meanwhile, the proprietor of the company died. So Papa Bulbule said, don't worry, I'll find work for you. Being a cinema person, he knew kaun si film ban rahi hai, which film is being made, who needs a new singer. And Noorjahan ji was about to go back to Lahore. People needed good singers, new singers, fresh voices. So every morning, Papa Bulbule would yell out to young Lata, Lata, chala, apnela raise. And then they would pillion ride, and she would go to her studio. There is another interesting story here. Once a sturdy security guard happened to hear Didi sing for a film, and the film never saw the light of the day. But he was very impressed, and the kind-hearted Pathan promptly briefed Master Ghulam Haidar, and then I told you the story. Films such as Majboor, Mahal, Badi Bahan, Ziddi, Andaz, Barsat, Lahore, they all were released back-to-back, chock-a-block with Didi's mellifluous numbers. This was in 1948. She bought her Hillman, her first car, in 1950, and a Rolleiflex camera. India then was passing through its worst crisis: independence, partition, communal carnage, cross-border migration, Mahatma Gandhi's assassination, political instability. But Lata breezed through India as whiff of fresh air. Her voice soothed the racked nerves of a traumatized nation. Her songs brought a smile on the lips of India. She filled the young republic's heart with hope and courage. And then there is this famous song. There are many songs from all the films which I counted now, her first films, but the best which epitomizes India turning a new page is with that famous Punjabi theka of Master Ghulam Haidar, which spread like wildfire. This song is based on that theka. Listen to this song. A young girl is eager to welcome her lover, and she's happy that her red dupatta is flying in the air and there is spring in her feet. Lyricist Shailendra, music Shankar Jaikishan, film Raj Kapoor's blockbuster Barsat, Hawa mein udta jaye mora lal dupatta malmal ka. The song. दिल खोल कर दाद दीजिए, तो ऊपर बैठी हैं वो सुनेंगी. The sheer grandeur of Lata Didi's life and her career is mind-blowing. Most facts, of course, have been well documented. The number of music directors and songwriters she teamed up with, the number of female actors for whom she lent her voice, the countries she visited during her global tours, the honors and awards she garnered, and so forth. However, a song cannot be measured by cold statistics. Didi's songs are closely intertwined with India's narrative and its people, their lives, their happiness and hope, failures and foibles, joy and sorrow, dreams and fantasies. She transcended beyond caste, community, and creed. Her songs reverberate through India's streets and sarais, bastis and bazaars, farms and factories, modest eateries and five-star hotels, airports and railway stations, old age homes and hospitals, and military camps too. Let me talk from my personal experience. I began in 1975. First, I started with AIR Mumbai. Then I used to work for English newspapers, and I was always put on night duty because I kept postponing my marriage. So they saw to it that I don't reach home early. And I used to take the last train home, back home from Churchgate to Borivali, which is an hour's journey at 1:10. After a day's hard work, you hop into a suburban train in Mumbai to reach home. You sit by the window and open a book. As you try to bond with your favorite writer, this young boy, a street urchin, his innocence draped in tatters, would hop into the compartment and begin to tamper with his brittle flute. Through the small holes would swirl a Lata melody. In no time, you are transported to another world where peacocks are dancing and trees are singing. This is Lata Mangeshkar for India's toiling masses, India's talisman. And the song which the little street urchin, a cute boy, would play on the flute is still reverberating in my mind. Listen to this song. It's a gem from the film Naujawan, and it says, "Cool breeze coming up upon me like waves. Days and nights are young." She's yearning for her lover. ठंडी हवाएं लहरा के आए, रुत है जवां तुमको यहाँ कैसे बुलाएं. Lyrics are by Sahil Ludhianvi. Music is by the great Sachin Dev Burman. Song. I have learnt music, but my guru, on the condition from my guru that I should never sing, because I was a lousy singer. But now that you all are kind-hearted people here, let me try. इसमें वो जो है ठंडी हवाएं लहरा के आए रुत है जवां तुमको यहाँ कैसे मनाए ये जो एम्बेलिशमेंट वो करती थी वो बहुत सुंदर था. She used to embellish with all these small, small musical phrases, which maybe the music director had not told her. But she used to do it on her own. But that used to add beauty to the song, one. And secondly, pura Western orchestration hai, if you have carefully noticed. Didi's range was amazing. Her vocalism could handle every shade of human emotions with dexterity and intensity. There are playful songs, there are naughty songs, contemplative songs, delightful, ecstatic, somber, pensive, philosophical, and seductive too. We are going to listen to one seductive song. Music directors were quick to tap Didi's incredible vocal range and her versatility. They began to experiment with new styles. In fact, Anil Biswas once told me, the great Anil Biswas, who in later years was in Delhi AIR, he told me that, look, when Lata came to sing, we heaved a sigh of relief because that one particular style of singing, which was like Ghazal Dadra Thumri style, associated with several hundred traditions of North India. And those Ghazal Dada Thumris were brought into films. But the need of the hour was to invest film with its own individuality and its identity. We just didn't want to dip into Ghazal Dada tradition all the time, or Tappa or Thumri or whatever. So it was Lata Mangeshkar who gave us this idea that we can do this song for her. I think this song also will be suitable for her. So they began to experiment with new styles, musical phrases, and idioms which they trusted Didi would execute with fervor, fizz, and feeling. Didi has sung for a wide range of characters. We'll just take a look. Again, this is representative only. An ambitious politician who's nursing the wound of a failed marriage. Suchitra Sen in Gulzar Saab's Andhi. A love-lord nurse, Meena Kumari in Dil Apna Preet Parai, and also Wahida Rahman in Khamoshi. A dancer, brilliant dancer, Wahida Rahman in Guide and many, many films. The female lead has been a dancer. A bipolar housewife, Nargis ji in Raat aur Din. A courtesan, Vaijanti Mala in Amrapali. A chirpy, smart girl from New Delhi, Nutan in Tere Ghar Ke Samne. A notch girl, many of them, Rekha, for example, in Muqaddar Ka Sikandar, and a post-globalization suave girl, Kajol, in Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. Now you can get a broad sweep of her range. Didi was 40 when she sang Bacche Man Ke Sache Sari Jag Ki Aankh Ke Tare for the 9-year-old Neetu Singh, who later graduated to become a popular actress, in Do Kaliyan And again, Didi was 75 when she sang for 20-something Preeti Zinta in Veer Zara. इसको चमत्कार कहते हैं. In Rishikesh Mukherjee's Mem Didi, and this she told me once, if she was in a playful mood, she used to talk a lot. And I always found that she was more forthcoming on the telephone. Lataji, there's a song of Lataji which teenage Tanuja ji must be hardly 16, has lip-synced, and the song is addressed to a street dog. And the song goes something like this. Oh, mere wa 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 wa, mera sir mat khao, something like that. Oh, mere wow wow wow. And Tanuja is almost doing this. Wow wow wow. Oh, mera sir mat khao, sone ki thali mein dal bhat khao, something. She was 22, Didi, and this is a very moving song which I'm going to play now. She was 22 when she sang Dheere Se Aaja Ri Akhin Mein, the soul-stirring Lori, a lullaby in Albela, a 1951 blockbuster. Listen to this gem. You'll remember your mother. And the line is, Dheere Se Aaja Re, oh sleep, please step in quietly and take my little one to the land of dreams. Song from Albela, Dheere Se Aaja Ri Akhin Mein. Songwriter Rajendra Krishna, music by C. Ramchandra.
धीरे से आजा रे अखियन में निंदिया आजा रे आजा धीरे से आजा धीरे से आजा रे अखियन में निंदिया आजा रे आजा धीरे से आजा चुपके से नैनन की बगियन में निंदिया आजा रे आजा धीरे से आजा लेकर सुहाने सपनों की कलियां सपनों की कलियां लेकर सुहाने सपनों की कलियां के बसा दे पलकों की गलियां पलकों की छोटी सी गलियन में निंदिया आजा रे आजा धीरे से आजा धीरे से आजा रे अखियन में निंदिया आजा रे आजा धीरे से आजा चुपके से नैनन की बगियन में निंदिया आजा रे आजा
What is so special about the song, that is, when you put your little one to sleep, you use a beat. All women, and it comes natural to them, all mothers, or all women. Da 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 da. This is the beat. Normally we put a child, and we pat him or her on the back. It's this beat. And there's again a small phrase, Nindiya aaja ri aaja di Nindiya. That is the Punjabi style. And that Punjabi style was very beautiful because it gave you small harkat and small murki and nothing like Noorjahan Bai and Lataji as far as harkat and murki was concerned. She would often tell us how in old times recordings used to happen. That was in the 30s. Playback came in 1933-34, but it was not very popular. And there were actors who used to sing their own songs. So how would a song be recorded in the 1930s or whatever? So she would say that songs were recorded right on the film set. all live, with all musicians. And if something goes wrong, again you have to do the whole thing, start all over again. And recordings were done mostly at night when streets were near empty and Mumbai, like an obedient child, would go off to sleep at 10 p.m. No Swiggy, no social media, no Netflix, no nightlife. How sweet. A recording was often a tedious and time-consuming affair and clumsy too. An uninvited guest, Mumbai's omnipotent, omnipresent crow, Kawa, would suddenly caw in the middle of a soul-stirring violin piece and would send the music director into a tizzy. Most actors were not trained in music. Kundanlal Sehgal, the great Kundanlal Sehgal, Suraya and Noor Jahan were the honorable exceptions, and so was Surendraji. The rest would gladly go off the key at the slightest provocation, thinking that it was their constitutional right. Hence, songs were simple, elementary, just a hazy outline. However, the World War II triggered sweeping changes in the entertainment sector across the world, and Hindi cinema too geared up to shed its flap. First thing they did is they introduced playback technique to a large extent on a great scale. With the arrival of professional singers, actors were spared the ordeal of singing their own songs. They were happy to lip sync on the silver screen, and this came as a great relief to film goers too, and they gave up the practice of tiptoeing out of the cinema hall for a smoke to shun a lousy song. The song became the central focal point, and accordingly, scripts were changed, storyline changed, the entire idea of cinema changed, and music directors became the most powerful people. Naushad Saab would tell Mehboob Saab, Huzur, aap yahan mat aiye. Aap jahil hai suron ke bare mein. You know nothing about music, so you please. And he would not interfere. Shantaram Bapu would not interfere when Sri Ramchandra and Vasant Desai were doing music for his films. You do the music the way you want to do. I'm told that producers nowadays keep interfering all the time, saying ki wo gaane ka music copy karke lao aur usko lagao. So you don't find much variety, but that is a different subject. Maestros such as Naushad, Anil Bishwas, C. Ramchandra, Master Ghulam Haider, Khemchand Prakash, Husnulal Bhagatram, Sajjad Saab, and Shankar Jaikishan reigned the music scene. And she sort of, were trained by these people, how to stand before the microphone, how to turn your face away briefly when there is an interlude music going on, how to take the breath, how to control your breath, diction, throw off words. And according to a conservative estimate, Lata Didi has recorded over, according to me, 7,500 songs. I'm deeply suspicious about all the claims of 30,000 and 40,000, and she never made any such claim while talking to me. She only said that there is no proper account of my songs, and I didn't keep any account. But I'm told a teacher in West Bengal in Kolkata is now compiling all her songs, but it is 7,500 to 8,000 plus her private albums. And she's said to have teamed up with over 135 music directors. Mumbai's recording studios represented the united colors of India. Music directors and songwriters came from different parts of the country, villages, towns. Their socio-economic and cultural background were as different as cheese from chalk. North India and Bengal have been the two principal trends in Hindi film music. If S.D. Burman belonged to the princely family of Tripura in the northeast and was a graduate from the then known as Calcutta University, Jaikishan Dahyabhai Panchal of the famous Shankar Jaikishan duo was a school dropout from Gujarat in Western India. Naushad Ali came from UP, Khayyam Saab was from Punjab, C. Ramchandra belonged to Maharashtra. Many musicians came from Goa, for instance, Anthony Gonsalves and Chick Chocolate, Dattaram. Lyricist Majru Saab came from UP, Sahir Saab came from Punjab. Salilda was from the northeast, but he brought Mozart and Beethoven to Hindi films. Now this is the span against which you have to understand and assess Didi's voice. Music directors came to Bombay with a bag full of melodies from their villages. This made the Hindi film song cosmopolitan in the true sense. Lata Didi's job was to internalize these indigenous musical traditions and deepen the process of, as Vinay ji said, national integration. And she also deepened the process of democratization of music in India. Radio, jukeboxes, restaurants, and recording companies helped her a lot. Didi didn't believe in merely following the tune as handed over to her by the music director. She would follow the vision of the song, do value additions while making sure that the core of the song and its regional flavor remained fairly intact. Now I'm going to play two songs to you. Both are the Bengali version and the Hindi version. Bengali version will make way for the Hindi version. Bengali version set to tune by Salil Chaudhary, written by him. Of course, the Hindi version set to tune by him, song written by the great Shailendra, O Sajana Barkha Baharai, O Na Jeo Na Rajani Ekhon Baki. Sadhana looks such innocent and ethereal beauty in this song. And also one song of Sadhana I remember, again sung by Didi Maushi, is from Asli Nakli, Tera Mera Pyar Amar, Fir Kyun Mujhko Lagta Hai Dar. Heroines, female leads would be very happy to have Didi sing their song. And most of them would insist that the songs should be sung by Lata ji. And Madhubala ji, Nargis ji, Meena Kumari ji, Geeta Bali ji, they all used to put a clause in their contract, and it was couched in legal language, saying that our songs will be rendered by Miss Lata Dinanath Mangeshkar. That was slightly very interesting. I mean, Miss Lata Dinanath Mangeshkar. Meena Kumari once attended her recording. She said, मुझे देखना है तुम कैसी दिखती हो जब गाती हो. Very nice way of paying a compliment. So she attended the recording. And she was looking at it. There's a very famous picture of Meena Kumari is looking at her and Didi is singing. And then she said, "Tum bahut sundar lagti ho jab gati ho tab." And then Meena ji also told Gulzar ji or someone, I don't remember, she said, where do I need to act when we have songs by Lata Mangeshkar? There's no need to act. So most of the people, female leads, Mala Sinha's father, Albert Sinha, he used to negotiate on behalf of his daughter with producers. And then paise ka sab ho gaya, remuneration, conditions, other conditions. He used to say, who's going to score the music for your film? He used to say, bhai, fala, this or that. He said, no, you give the songs to Madan Mohan Saab. So why Madan Mohan? तो फिर दीदी के 4 गाने मेरी लड़की को मिलेंगे और मेरी लड़की बड़ी खुश हो जाएगी, पब्लिक भी बहुत खुश हो जाएगी. That kind of deep devotion to Didi. We go further. The million-dollar question here, friends, is, and this has been weighing on the minds of all music lovers for I don't know how many years, a lot of books have been written by many people. What exactly goes to make a Hindi film song? How is it made? I have been knowing a lot of people and have been interviewing them. I've written a lot. I can't say what is the genesis of a Hindi film song. It's difficult to say. It's a gray area. I would only say that a music director on his way to the recording studio stops and gathers 2 or 3 melodies hanging from the trees or swimming in the air, puts them in the pocket, goes to the recording studio, fine-tunes them, and he used to give it to Rafi Saab, Lata ji, ab isko gao. I don't think that there is any plagiarism is absolutely no. I mean, songs are being lifted and all that's okay. But you have one song finishing and entering some other song. You have so many styles intermingling. You have Thumri, you have Dadra, you have Sauni, you have Kajri, you have Hori, you have Doha, you have Kavit. And then you have Marathi Abhang and you have Marathi Ovi, or you have Bengali Baul and you have Bengali Adhunik Giti. And they all are floating in the air. And one song may lead to another song, that song may lead to another song. I remember this song a few years ago was very popular and for very right reasons. Kajrare, Kajrare, Tere Kare Kare Naina from Bunty and Bubbly. And if there's people from Maharashtra here, they would they would agree with me. There's a very popular bhajan in Marathi. Digambara, Digambara, Shripada Vallabha Digambara, 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 Shripada Vallabha, Kajrare, Kajrare, Tere Kare Kare Naina. Now, if you say you have lifted a song, no, it's a traditional tune. It's a traditional tune. So maybe somebody said something. Somebody said कि ये गाना अच्छा है, इसको आप देखिए. Once Pyarelal Saab told me the making of a song, story of Lataji's song. He said most songs in that Lakshmikant Pyarelal do among them, Lakshmikant used to do most songs. So morning at 11:30, muh mein paan dabate the. He used to take his harmonium and he used to listen to read the song. Songwriters were sitting here and he used to start playing the harmonium. Now the lyricist had to arrive and he was enjoying his paan, Lakshmikant Saab, and he heard somebody muttering something, कुछ अजीब सी आवाज आ रही. So he went up, started walking, and he realized that somebody in the bathroom, the housemaid, was washing clothes. And she was muttering something. So he went and asked his wife, "Ye kya kar rahi hai?" She's washing clothes. Well, what is she talking? No, she's cursing her father-in-law, mother-in-law, husband, her sister-in-law. And वो सारा गुस्सा वो कपड़े पे निकालती है. And फिर कपड़े बड़े अच्छे धुल के निकलते हैं. Clothes become very clean. So she said, "But why do you bother? You go to your husband." He said, "No, wait." And she was doing something like this. Now look at the beat. He said, good. He came back, sat on the harmonium. Dil vil, pyar vyar, main kya janu re, dil vil, pyar vyar, main kya janu. This is Hindi film song. गाना कहीं से भी कैसे भी आता है. और अब मैंने सलिदा से पूछा, मैंने हेमंता से पूछा, वो बोले ओपी नैयर तो मुझे कहते थे, देखो बेटा मेरे घर आओगे तो तुम लॉन्ड्री मैन बन के मत आओ. मैंने कहा मतलब क्या, ये कमीज किसकी है, ये शर्ट कहाँ से बनाई, मुझे कुछ मालूम नहीं है. It is that very moment when something starts working in your mind. Now you heard the song when you entered the auditorium, you heard that famous song, Tu Jahan Jahan Chalega Mera Saya Saath Hoga. It is Rag Nand. Tu jahan jahan. Madan Bhaiya was breaking his head. He didn't know how to. And Rajkhosta Saab wanted the song by next day morning. He said, kaisa bhi karke record karo, spool bhej do Udaipur mein. Didi was sitting like this, looking at him. He was in deep crisis, Madan Saab. So she said, kya main thoda gungunaun? Shall I hum a tune for you? It will help you. He looked at her and said, theek hai, gao. Dhoondu baare saiya, dhoondu baare. Wait. Tu jahan jahan chalega. But this is not plagiarism. Because she said the antara is very good. Mera gam raha hai sha. Aha, that Shamil ka sha kaisa aata hai. But he needed a ignition key, you know. So इस तरह से गाने बनते हैं. And best thing is, you know, अब मैं, I have come round to the view that, okay, ये गाना ऐसा बना है, good. ये गाना वैसा बना है, good. There's one Aarti again, Maharashtra. One second. There is one Aarti from Maharashtra. अब इसका ताल गरबे का है, मराठी आरती है ना? वेदने ले चोरुनी ब्रह्मा आणुनी आदेसी. जैसे सॉन्ग इन प्यार किए जा. जुल्म अमीरों का सहकर अब चुप नहीं रहना है. Now this is not lift. He hasn't lifted the song. He's just taken first line. तो नैयर साहब always used to say, वो पहली पंक्ति जो होती है ना, पहली लाइन, मिश्रा, it matters a lot. It is like your first love. So, Lata Didi has, where are we now? Oh, yeah. But I personally, and I'm sure you all will agree with me, I admire her love songs. And we all, which are suffused with a certain warmth, ethereal beauty, and intensity. Film songs of love, separation, and longing they are to be seen as a modern day version of India's spiritual movement, the Bhakti, Sufi, Alwar, and Vaishnav tradition, which considers love not just acquisition, ownership, or destination. It considers love as bhakti, a journey to Brahma. That is why I like, and Didi entirely agreed with me. She said that is why I think that Hindi film music, to a great extent, has a spiritual bond. She was talking about the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and a bit of the 70s. We will listen to this ethereal, beautifully crafted song, a gem, 16 crore likes on one channel, I'm told. A 1964 film, song by Raja Mehendi Ali Khan, music by Madan Saab. Let me draw you close to my heart. This beautiful night may not last forever. लग जा गले के फिर हंसी ये रात हो ना हो, शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो ना हो. Song. I'll be right back.
हंसी रात हंसी रात हो न हो, शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो न हो, लग जा गले। हमको मिली है आज घड़ियां नसीब से, हमको मिली है आज घड़ियां नसीब से, जी भर के देख लीजिए हमको करीब से, फिर आपके नसीब में ये बात हो न हो, शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो न हो, लग जा गले के फिर ये हंसी रात हो न हो, शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो न हो, लग जा गले।
There is a word ho there. लग जा गले न जाने हंसी रात हो, उसकी खूबसूरती उसमें है। गाना नाजुक होता है। अक्सर लोग कहते हैं कि गाना नाजुक होता है। अब नाजुक में अगर कुछ यहाँ वहाँ हो गया ना तो गाना सीधे पिलपिला हो जाता है। हाँ, ये बात आप ध्यान रखिए। गाना ज़रा नाजुक के फिर वो बहुत ही लाचार दिखने लगता है गाना कि अरे बाप रे, ये नहीं चाहिए मुझे। तो उर्दू में एक बड़ा अच्छा शेर है, फूल की, आप लोगों को मालूम होगा, दिल्ली वाले हो आप, फूल की पत्ती से लिपटी हुई तितली को गिराकर देखो आंधियों। द पोएट इज एड्रेसिंग द स्टॉर्म and is calling it in plural. You can't translate that into English as, I mean, मराठीत आपण आंधी वादळा अनेक वचन होतं पण बरोबर नाही येते. फूल की पत्ती से लिपटी हुई तितली को गिराकर देखो आंधियों, तुमने दरख्तों को गिराया होगा, बड़े बड़े पेड़ गिराए होंगे, ये तितली को हिला हिला कर देखो। अब तितली नाजुक है लेकिन उसकी पकड़ कितनी मजबूत है। तो ये जो नाजुक का मामला है ना, ये दीदी की आवाज़ और उस आवाज़ का सदुपयोग करने वाले सभी संगीतकारों को मालूम था कि आवाज़ नाजुक है। इसलिए आप इसी फिल्म का और एक गाना है नैना बरसे, अब इसको आप थोड़ा थाई लय में, यू रिड्यूस द बीट, इट इज स्ट्रेट अवे मीन्ड घसीट, नैना बरसे ऐसा है वो। अब ऐसा तो गाना फिल्म में चलेगा नहीं, सो दे राउंड इट ऑफ, दे राउंड इट ऑफ। इसको इसलिए क्लासिकल वाले लोग हिंदी सिनेमा में चलते नहीं हैं। देयर वॉज अ ग्रेट फीमेल सिंगर हु वॉज वेरी कीन ऑन बिकमिंग अ प्लेबैक सिंगर, सो शी वेंट टू अ ग्रेट म्यूजिक डायरेक्टर and he said, okay, sing a song. So she sang a song and she put too many tans into it. आप घर जाइए बोला, you sing in a concert, don't sing for film. Film is economy, 4.5 minutes. Didi had a delicious sense of humor. delicious sense of humor. And she was a great raconteur. If she was in good mood, and if she trusted you, she was a great raconteur. And ऐसा जवाब देती थी. पद्मा सचदेव नाम सुना होगा आपने, बहुत बड़ी कवयित्री थी डोगरी की, मुंबई आकाशवाणी में काम करती थी उद्घोषिका के रूप में, बड़ा नाम था उनका. शी वॉज अ फ्रेंड ऑफ लता जी's, Padma Sachdev, the poet. So Lata ji had gone to All India Radio and she met her there. So she said, Didi, purse बहुत खूबसूरत. She was carrying a handbag. It was very beautiful. So she said, देखो. So Padma ji took the handbag. She admired. बहुत खूबसूरत है. माल भी बहुत होगा. There's a lot of money in this. Deadpan expression, Didi said, नहीं, माल यहाँ है. She was very quick. Quick silver wit. She was interviewed by a journalist, let him be nameless. मेरे जमात का है, क्यों उसका नाम लूँ मैं? He interviewed her for a television channel and he was talking the Queen's English. वो एक आदत है ना, अंग्रेजी का इंस्ट्रूमेंट बना के सामने वाले को नीचे दिखलाने की एक बात होती है. तो लता, I think ऐसे टाइप का उनका चला था वो. And then suddenly he asked two questions which annoyed her. And जब वो annoy होती थी ना तो आंखें उनकी सी बारीक होती थी. अब क्लोजअप आया तो मैंने देखा घर में, मैंने कहा दीदी मुझे गई, बिगड़ गई, अब इसको खानी पड़ेगी. तो she said no, don't ask this question, something like that. He persuaded her, persisted. ठीक है, वो बात हो गई. Then he came to the last question and he said, you are the greatest Indian after Mahatma Gandhi. She said, no, don't, ऐसा मत कहिए. वो बहुत ही बड़े थे, मैं आर्टिस्ट हूँ. नहीं. She said, but what is your question? She said, look, he said, look, if you are a great person, you have to pay a price. Greatness comes with a price tag. She said, no, I didn't get you. So he said, now he was walking into her trap. So he said, look, if you're a great person, you have to do things which you don't want to do, but you're forced to do. That greatness forces you to do. So she said, yes, this happens a lot of time. He said, can you recount the latest incident? She said, this interview. There was a music director who introduced a young girl, playback singing. अच्छी थी लड़की, होनहार थी. If she was groomed, she could have become a good singer. But the music director thought that she was a great singer, greater than Lata Didi. So he used to introduce her to every producer. And that Sangeetkar was a very well-known name. Finally, he recorded a song of hers. The word soon spread. Cinema industry में तो इस बातें immediately चलती हैं. So he showed the spool to Didi and said, देखो मैंने record किया है वो लड़की को. How beautiful she sings. You want to listen to the spool? She said, yes. मैंने गाना लगाया. After 5 minutes, song got over. He asked her sarcastically, aren't you feeling threatened? Type of expression. कैसा लगा? How did you find her? Pursely, she used to carry purse like this. When she used to get up, she used to take her purse and she would put it like this. He would a deep sigh, of course, of relief, and she said, आज तक सुना था कि प्यार अंधा होता है, आज समझा कि प्यार बहरा भी होता है. He was nonplussed. The girl didn't go much beyond after 4 or 5 films. I think that, I must tell you about her self-deprecating. That she had a lot. And that is a sign of refinement. वो खुद पर ही मजाक करती थी. She had gone to a recording, HMB for a recording. And there was some rehearsal going on there. Again, a young girl, a woman was singing. Didi was sitting in the recordist's booth and patiently listening to the rehearsal. The recordist said, "Kaisa laga? How do you find her?" So she said, she's very good, but she needs to be groomed. Sometimes she tends to be kansur. Now I can't translate kansur into English. Thoda ek niche aata hai sur. There was a gentleman sitting next. He said, nahi, she's not kansur at all, Lata ji, she's my wife. Oh, she said, oh, she's very good. She's a great singer. But then she couldn't contain herself. She said, but the composition is not good. वो जो चाल बनाई है गाने की वो कुछ ठीक नहीं, वो ज़्यादा पॉलिश करनी चाहिए थी. No, Didi, how can you say that? I am the music director. She said, oh, you're a great music director. Then finally she said she had no business to do that. She couldn't contain herself. She said, but गाने के बोल अच्छे नहीं हैं. The words are not good. He said, don't say that. I am the lyricist. She said, you are a great music director, you're a great lyricist. Your wife is a very great singer. मैं जाती हूँ. Took a purse and walked. What I liked about her and about the old generation, I met Shamida, Shami Saab, Nayyar Saab, Sajjad Hussain Saab, Hemanda, Salilda. They never carried the weight of their greatness. Never. They were easily accessible. If you asked sensible questions, they would sit you down and answer your questions. There was no, what we call today, आजकल के बच्चे कहते हैं मुझे, मामा आप में attitude नहीं है. मैंने कहा, I'm so happy I don't have attitude. She was a thorough professional. Morning, 9 o'clock, she used to be out. She had a driver called Jai Singh. She would go to the balcony, first floor. She'd look down. Jai Singh, Alas Kaire, are you there? Jai Singh used to do this. Miale. So she'd come down, get into her car, and her Pedaro residents would set their watch. सुनिए जी, दीदी गई अभी recording को 9 बज के चलिए उठिए. That was the kind of professionalism she had. Rain, sunshine. She was always out at 9:30. She used to have biscuits and a cup of hot tea as a breakfast. She would survive on an apple or a cucumber sandwich given to her by a co-singer or mostly recordists. They used to buy some sandwiches. She used to munch it. She used to stand all the time. Kishore Da used to sit and sing. Very few people know that. Most times, Kishore Da used to sit like this. And he used to sing. Didi used to be standing all the time. It was hard work, as Rakesh Mehra has said. It was hard work, hard work, hard work. When she sang for Rakesh Bhai's film, Luka Chupi Bahut Hui, it went on for 6 hours. They had kept a glass of water for her, cold and this bisleri. They had kept coffee, they had kept tea, they had kept a fruit juice. She did not touch anything. She was sipping water, but she was standing for 7 hours and she recorded the song. बड़प्पन आसानी से नहीं मिलता है. You have to work hard for it. और जो लोगों को हार्ड वर्क से पैसा नहीं मिलता, उनको वो पछता भी नहीं है. She was very fair while distributing dates to music directors. She never showed special favors to big-ticket composers and never ignored the lesser knowns. Pandit Shivram, नहीं आपको तारीख नहीं मिले, never, never. She was once asked to create a ghost sound. I think in 20 साल बाद, हेमंता बोले, लता तुमको भूत की आवाज़ निकालनी पड़ेगी. तो I asked her, how did you do it? बहुत अच्छा किया बोले. And she has sung in soprano style too. If you have heard this song by Salilda, "Ae Dil Kahan Teri Manzil," there's this soprano chorus there. She leads the chorus. Sayonara, Sayonara has a Japanese flavor. Ajeeb Dasta Hai Ye Kahan Shuru Kahan Khatam has a Goan Portuguese twang. So all kind of music influences she was assimilating, adaptability, she was imbibing, and she was giving it to you and me. We are going to listen to a song. Now this is the song I was talking about, the seduction song. Come and melt into my arms. Why this curtain? Actually the word should be veil. Why this veil between you and me? Baahon mein chale aao, हमसे सनम क्या पर्दा. I think this song should silence her detractors, and there are many of them, who say that these songs project only an obedient, servile, docile housewife as the quintessential Indian woman. I contest that. Didi paid no heed to critics, though. She she wholeheartedly agreed with this John Sibelius's adage. John Sibelius was a renowned Finnish composer from Finland of the early modern century. He said, and I quote, "Pay no attention to what critics say. A statue has never been set up in honor of a critic." बाहों में चले आओ, हमसे सनम क्या पड़ता।
बाहों में चले आओ, बाहों में चले आओ, हो हमसे सनम क्या पर्दा, हो हमसे सनम क्या पर्दा, ये आज था नहीं मिलन, ये संग है उम्र भर का, बाहों में चले आओ, हमसे सनम क्या पर्दा, हमसे सनम क्या पर्दा। चले ही जाना है नजर चुरा के, फिर थामी थी साजन तुमने मेरी कलाई क्यों, हाँ? चले ही जाना है नजर चुरा के, फिर थामी थी साजन तुमने मेरी कलाई क्यों, किसी को अपना बना के छोड़ दे, ऐसा कोई नहीं करता, बाहों में चले आओ, हमसे सनम क्या पर्दा, हमसे सनम क्या पर्दा, ये आज था नहीं मिलन, ये संग है उम्र भर का, बाहों में चले आओ, हमसे सनम क्या पर्दा, हमसे सनम क्या पर्दा।
This is an R.D. Burman gem. R.D. Burman changed, completely altered the concept. Bossa Nova, Arabic, Caribbean. I think there was this song from Tisri Manzil where he wanted this effect, you know. He wanted to deepen the percussion effect. Yeah, it is from Tisri Manzil. Aja Aja Main Hu Pyar Tera. And then he called his assistant Manohari Dada. Manohari Dada told me this and he said, तुम्हारी कमीज निकालो. He said, क्या बात कर रहे हैं आप? बोले, remove your shirt. He removed his shirt. पीठ करो. हाँ. हो आजा, हो आजा, हो आजा, हो आजा, हो आजा, हो आजा. Ah. Now bringing sound into music, and the best part is both Asha Tai, Rafi Saab, and Kishore Da, and Didi. Now Kishore Da has sung with Didi in Ziddi in 1948, and just singing in, say, 1978 or 1984, and the entire grammar and syntax of music is changing. So this shows not just the range, but also this also shows the changing political landscape of India and social cultural landscape of India. Cinema is a world of glamour and glitter, as also greed, guile, and gender bias. In this male-dominated world, Didi reigned supreme for over 7 decades. She fought for her rights and she loved a good fight. Then she didn't care whether she was a Mirabai or a Saraswati's daughter. And I like her for that. It's we who turned her into a Saraswati's daughter. She never came and told us, "Main Saraswati ki beti hu." We create myths and then we want to demystify them. This is a Western technique. We don't follow them in India. We shouldn't. You first create a person, उसका हवा बनाना और फिर उसको छेद करना. ये कौन सा खेल है? She fought with S.D. Burman. There was some difference. She sang a song for Miss India. Dada said it's okay. So she said, I'm leaving now for another song. And next day, Jaidev ji, who was S.D. Saab's close assistant, he said, Dada wants you back for a re-recording, for a retake. She said, if the first take was okay, why should I give you another date for retake? He should have told me then and then. Professionalism. She said, now I don't have dates. I'll give you after a month. Dada got annoyed. They both stopped singing. He was a very powerful and a very popular and a very great music composer. He didn't care for consequences. He took Ashatai for most of the songs in Devanand's films and all. Chhod de aanchal zamana kya kahega. But first opportunity, he ran back to Didi. And that came because of his son. He was signed for a film called Chote Nawab. And he wanted Didi to sing that song, famous song, Ghara Aja Girai Badara Savariya. He told his father, ki, I want Didi to sing. He said, you put a call to her. He put a call and said, Didi, can you come home for rehearsal? And those days, playback singer often used to go to a composer's residence. She said, I'm coming. Dada was there. After the rehearsal got over, he said, would you meet Dada? She said, of course I'm going to meet Dada. Came on a chamber, prem se mili. He said, abhi humko tum तारीख kab dega? So she said, aap mangiye, main aapko तारीख दूंगी. About 10 days later or so, whatever, he rang her up and said, there's a beautiful song for you. Mora gora angalai le mohe shama rangadai. And then they came back. Fought with Raj Kapoor Saab over that famous song, मैं क्या करूँ राम मुझे बुढ़ा मिल गया. She sang the song, but then she didn't sing for the next two films, कल आज और कल and मेरा नाम जोकर. She fought with Rafi Saab over royalty issue. Didi said, playback artist is entitled to 2.5% royalty. And producers were saying, like Raj Kapoor, ki once you sing the song and we give you your remuneration, that's over for you. Then the song is our property. She said, no, it's intellectual property. It's my song. He said, I'm claiming royalty. Rafi Saab said, ki, I'm not with you. And I don't think I'll be able to sing with you because you're taking a very extreme position. So she said, you don't take the trouble of not singing with me. I'm not singing with you because it is not a trouble for me. They didn't sing for 4 years. And S.D. Burman Saab, Madan Mohan Saab, and everybody was saying, Bhaiya, aap jhagda mita do, come on, patch up now. Because best songs are coming to us and we can't take both of you. And then for, I think, Jewel Thief, they sang Dil Pukare Aare Aare. She also fought that Filmfare should be given to playback singers. It was not. She said, I will not sing Chori Chori song for the Filmfare distribution ceremony, that function. She said, Main kyun gaun? Why are you not giving us, the playback singers, the privilege of collecting an award? Don't give me, but you should consider playback singers as singers. You need playback singers, you need lyricists. Lyricists and playback singers also should be given awards. Then she had long negotiations with Filmfare, and 1957 she got her first award for Ajare Main To Kab Se Khadi Is Par. Didi respected all religions. She had great faith in God. She firmly, once I was invited for dinner by a good friend of mine, let him be nameless. She was also invited, and she was eating all tikha, hot. So the host asked her, you eat masala, hari mirch and this and that. And she said, I like hot food. I like masala. And she was eating. So the host's wife, a very gracious lady, she said, what about your voice? I still can recall her picture before my eyes. She didn't answer. She was having a morsel in her mouth. She was eating, and he said, आपकी आवाज़ को कुछ होता नहीं है. She only did this. As long as the blessings are there. I feel all great people must be feeling that the energy that we have, Sachin Tendulkar, Didi, or great scientists, great singers, great soldiers, they must be feeling that this frame is too fragile to hold this energy, creative energy. And that is why you find Sachin, when he hits a century, he shows a back, he gives a tribute to either his father or the God. This is not mine. She always chose a home which was in the vicinity of a temple. She was earlier living in Nana Chowk. There was a Shankara temple there. Then she was living in Walkeshwar House. There was Babulnath temple, famous Babulnath temple there. And then she was living on Pedder Road since 1960, and there was the Mahalakshmi temple right across. But she had deep faith in other religions also. I know for a fact that she used to often visit the Mount Mary Basilica there at Bandra, or she used to go to, she used to send flowers, phoolon ki chaddar, for Haji Malang, and so on. She used to write Shri Krishna when she used to write a song, and she used to write out her song herself. Every song was written by her. The poet used to sing the song, used to dictate the song to her. रहते थे कभी जिनके दिल में हम जान से भी प्यारों की तरह बैठे हैं उन्हीं के कूचे में हम आज गुनहगारों की तरह. गा के नीचे नुक्ता दीजिए. इसको काम कहते हैं. अब मैं देखता हूँ मोबाइल पे गाने लेके दो. इसमें हार्ड वर्क नहीं है ना, तो सब बटन टेक्नोलॉजी है. लेकिन डोंट बिलीव व्हाट आई एम सेइंग, यू गो बाय द वे यू वांट. She would remove her sandals before recording a song. We will now listen to, am I right, Samir? Thumaka Chalata Ramachandra. Sorry? नहीं, गाइड नहीं. नहीं, गाइड नहीं आहे का? हाँ, हाँ. We'll listen to this song, and not me, but many others have described this song as the, what should I say, as the signature tune, as ode to Indian feminism. कांटों से खींच के ये आंचल.
कांटों से खींच के ये आंचल
अगर आपने इस पे विचार किया होगा तो ये अंतरा और मुखड़ा एक ही है। ये पहला जो गाना आपने सुना ठंडी है वो भी वैसा ही था, वहीं के वहीं गाना है। ये इकोनॉमी है, 4.5 मिनट में आपको खेल करना है सब। एंड सेकेंडली, फॉर गाइड सॉन्ग शी टोल्ड मी दैट पिया तो से नैना लगे रे, एंड this song, and she had rehearsals for 8 days, and she used to go to Vijay Anand's residence, Ketanab, and they used to rehearse, or Barman Dada's residence, and normally you are paid for rehearsals. A singer or chorus is paid, instrumental people are paid for rehearsals. She did not take a farthing for guide rehearsal. She said, ये मेरे लिए सबक था. This was a lesson to me. This was my training, so I won't charge for the recording. And she would she had a simple mantra. You are the music director. You teach me the song. I will sing. Whatever you want, I will sing for you. Tell me which way I must sing. Now this is music director's test, acid test. I mean, there have been some music directors who used to sweat while teaching her the song because she used to keep looking at the harmonium. How is he playing, na? हाँ दीदी वो जरा ऐसा है वो, हाँ हाँ ठीक है, आप करिए अपना काम. And he knew very well, the music director. Why I'm saying he is a very, except Usha Khanna and Saraswati Devi, there are no female. I'm very surprised and appalled that not, apart from Usha Khanna ji and Saraswati Devi ji in the 30s, not female composers. Why? I asked her this question. She said, yes, even I want to know why. Why were there no female composers? So composer knew कि मैं कैसा भी गाना बनाऊं वो तो गाने वाली अच्छा है. So there is this interview with Javed Akhtar Saab where she says, मुझे बहुत डर लगता था. I used to be very worried whether I'll be able to do justice to the song, or if I don't, then the composer would say कि what song I gave her and what has she turned it into. So जावेद साहब से नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. कंपोजर सोचता है क्या मैंने गाना दिया था, क्या दीदी ने उसका किया. That is the relationship between composer and Didi. But these are latter days, new composer, and some of them are very, very good. Very good. But in the 80s, something went wrong with Hindi film music. And that is the time when she started withdrawing. She didn't give up, but she started withdrawing. And she used to spend a lot of time with friends. Most of them were classical musicians, Marathi poets, Marathi writers, Hindi poets, Pandit Narendra Sharma, Majoo Sultanpuri. She used to adore Majoo Saab. हम हैं मताए कूचा ओ बाजार की तरह, उठती है हर निगाह खरीदार की तरह, रहते थे कभी जिनके दिल में हम जान से भी क्या. Such a long line, very difficult as a ghazal. इसको ट्यून करना बहुत मुश्किल है. दावा था जिन्हें हम दर्दी का, खुद आके न पूछा हाल कभी, महफिल में बुलाया है हमको हंसने को सितमगारों की तरह. स्वरूप भरे जीने के लिए बैठे हैं हजारों जहर पिए, ठोकर न लगाना हम खुद हैं गिरती हुई दीवारों की तरह. Beautiful songs. And they all, you start with दीनानाथ मधोक जी, पंडित प्रदीप, पंडित नरेंद्र शर्मा, पंडित इंद्र, वहाँ से आप शुरू करिए. नक्शब जी, अंजुमन पीलीभीती, साहिल लुधियानवी, मजरूर सुल्तानपुरी, कैफी आज़मी, कमर जलालाबादी, राजा मेहंदी अली खां, गुलशन, all of them gave their best songs to Lata ji. The one which we are now going to sing here is a traditional composition which establishes Didi's link with India's rich past. तुलसीदास जी की रचना है ठुमक चलत रामचंद्र. Cricket was a great love. Whenever there was a match in Mumbai, the entire Mangeshkar family would make a beeline to the Brabant Stadium with their tiffins and flasks of tea and coffee. Didi would take a break. There were no recordings during the 5-day match. She had excellent ties with greats such as Lala Amarnath, Mansur Ali Pataudi, Polly Umrigar, in later years Sunil Gavaskar, and of course the great Sachin Tendulkar. She would often host dinner for cricketers at her Pedder Road residence, and also for classical musicians such as Ustad Amjad Ali Khan Sahab, Jasraj Ji, Nusrat Fateh Ali Sahab. She used to call them home. She was a very good cook. But that is if she really decided to cook. She would cook delicious dishes to cook. Sachin watched the 2018 IPL along with his wife at Didi's residence, and insiders say both were giggling and clapping like kids cheering the Indian team. भगवान आए होंगे देखने के लिए वो सीन. इतना सुंदर, दो भारत रत्न बैठे हैं और मैच की खुशी ले रहे हैं. Didi laughed and cried. She loved traveling, she loved good food, she loved saris, diamonds, saris in soft pastel colors, she loved diamonds, she loved pets. She had a soft spot for ice cream. She took each day as it came and believed in work. Kabhi khushi, kabhi gam, rara pam pam pam, haso aur hasaya karo was her life's credo. Listen to this song. उठे सबके कदम. From बातों बातों में lyrics अमित खन्ना साहब, music राजेश रोशन.
उठे सबके कदम देखो रम पम पम. उठे सबके कदम देखो रम पम पम. आज ऐसे गीत गाया करो, कभी खुशी कभी गम, तारा रम पम पम. हंसो और हंसाया करो. उठे सबके कदम देखो रम पम पम. आज ऐसे गीत गाया करो,
कभी खुशी कभी गम, तारा रम पम पम. हंसो और हंसाया करो. खुशी कभी गम, तारा रम पम पम. हंसो और हंसाया करो.
उठे सबके कदम देखो रम पम पम. आज ऐसे गीत गाया करो, कभी खुशी कभी गम, तारा रम पम पम. हंसो और हंसाया करो.
After 1980s, last two songs, very nice song. Now you imagine that same song was singing, same voice was singing, Dheere Se Aajari Akhin Mein. That you will understand, taking all the trends, keeping herself updated, abreast of all the trends in music. Sometimes I feel, friends, that, I don't know, Vinay ji will agree with me, I suppose. The IITs and the IIMs should have invited Didi as a Dell professor. Professional skills, time management, and work culture. I don't know why this did not happen. Anyway, in the 1980s, she became a bit choosy. As I told, something thin, something fragile snapped. Something fragile snapped. We all know that. And then she started her global concerts, which kept her busy all through the decade. She was globe-trotting, navigating through alien waters, visiting many countries, discovering new frontiers. US, UK, Canada, just a few countries. France, Russia, Caribbean islands, UAE, Singapore, Bangladesh. And she kept going to them again and again. She liked foreign countries. She would often say that civic amenities are best. Citizens are given the respect they deserve. There's rights and human liberties, civil liberties are well guarded. Their parks are very good. She would like going abroad and spending a lot of time there, entire between 1974 and 1998. Such long period. Because she could take a walk, stroll down a London street or New York street, and there were no autograph hunters and no nosy journalists seeking interviews. Why do you wear white saris? That kind of questions which everybody asked her all the time. And she could eat in a favorite eatery. Foreign trips broadened her vision. See, there is a prayer in Rig Veda which says that let all thoughts, best thoughts, come to us from every direction. Rig Veda, the world's most ancient scripture. She believed in this Rig Veda adage. But she would sing for, very selectively, for say, Yash Chopra Saab, Suraj Barjatya, for instance, interacting with an entirely new team of composers such as Ram Lakshman, Jatin Lalit, Adesh Srivastav and A.R. Rahman, among many others. Her songs from Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, Maine Pyar Kiya, Hum Aapke Hain Kaun and Dil To Pagal Hai took the post-globalization India by storm. The millennials are weaned on these songs. They show that Didi was relevant to them, relevant to post-1990 India also. She sang 8 out of 9 songs in Dil To Pagal Hai at the age of 68. Here, she sang for Kamini Kaushal. Now she's singing for Kajol. Mere Khwabon Mein Jo Aaye from Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. Listen to this. Friends, the new India rose 75 years ago from the ruins of colonialism. And Lata Didi was born as playback singer 75 years ago. A happy coincidence indeed. Lata Didi fused continents, communities, and creeds into a ballad of peace and harmony. Her songs, as Vinay ji rightly said, have outlived the flickering images on the silver screen. We Indians survived all these 75 years because of her. We survived changes of regime, natural disasters, wars, and stock market upheavals because of Didi's songs. She made us good human beings. We owe a huge debt to her. This listening session was a modest attempt to repay it, even if in small measure. Before I go to the last song, Jiya Jale, written by Gulzar ji and set to tune by the great A.R. Rahman, I thank you all, my dear friends. Keep listening to all good songs, whether it is Lata Mangeshkar or Rafi Saab, or Shobha Gurtu, or Begum Akhtar, or Siddheshwari Bai, or M.S. Subbulakshmi. From all across India, Bengali की कुछ भी गाने सुनिए, लेकिन Indian गाने सुनिए. Let us not ignore our, and they are very good. They are very, very good. ये सब हमने मन में तुक्का बना लिया है कि समय बदल गया. मुझे कई लोग कहते हैं समय बदल गया. मैंने कहा समय बदल गया तो ऐसा खाना खाते हो क्या? ऐसा खाना जितना चिरंतन है, उतना ही हमारा संगीत चिरंतन है. So please listen to all these songs. I deeply thank my dear friend Shri Vinay Sahasrabuddhe ji for allowing me, for inviting me for this function. I am deeply indebted to him also, his wife, and I must tell you that Nainatai sings very well, but I think she sings exclusively for Vinay ji. So let it be like that. His entire ICCR team, I'm going to thank all of you, ma'am. Very good cooperation, you handled the whole thing with great, without any bureaucratic, there was no red tapeism, there was no bureaucracy. They were very cooperative. I thank all of them. And I thank my colleagues, Shri Vinod Pawar, Shri Sheetal Talpade, and Shri Samir Annarkar for taking care of a person as impossible as me. Listen to the last song, Jiya Jale, and then Jai Hind. Thank you very much.
जिया जले जा जले जिया जले जा जले नैनु तले धुआं चले
കുഞ്ചിരി തഞ്ചി കുഞ്ചിക്കോ മുന്തിരി മുത്തൊളി ചിന്തിക്കോ മഞ്ചടി വർണ്ണ ചുന്ദരി വാവേ കാങ്കിണ്ണക്ക തകതിമിയാടും തങ്കനിലാവേ കുഞ്ചിരി തഞ്ചി കുഞ്ചിക്കോ മുന്തിരി മുത്തൊളി ചിന്തിക്കോ മഞ്ചടി വർണ്ണ ചുന്ദരി വാവേ കാങ്കിണ്ണക്ക തകതിമിയാടും തങ്കനിലാവേ
एक तो मैंने लिख ली है, वो मुंबई से डालूंगा। फिर लिखूंगा जहाज पर,
ते गाने लावा,
फिर मार्शल से।
रही ना रही हम
Thank you everyone, and all are requested to join for refreshment in the adjoining hall. ICCR की तरफ से जलपान की व्यवस्था की गई है, आप सभी को आमंत्रित करते हैं।
मैंने सोचा था हमारी ये जुदाई भी थोड़े ही समय के लिए है।
रहे न रहे हम महका करेंगे, बनके कली बनके सबा बागे वफा में, रहे न रहे हम। जिंदा हुई है फिर जहां में आज इश्क वफा की रस्म हमसे, यूं ही इस चमन की जीनत रहेंगे, बनके कली बनके सबा बागे वफा में, रहे न रहे हम महका करेंगे, बनके कली बनके सबा बागे वफा।
महका करेंगे, बनके कली बनके सबा बागे वफा में, रही न रही हम।
मैंने सोचा था